and welcome to another exciting episode of our program Telecom Today. We're still reviewing major activities of the telecom industry in the outgone year, which we started in the last episode. We're kicking off with workshops and seminars. The nation's telecom regulator did not renege on its annual practice of conducting workshops and seminars for judicial officers in Nigeria in 2018. This is the platform the Commission uses to update the country's legal luminary on the legal framework in the industry and to make for efficient education of telecom-related cases. One of such is the 3-day retreat for judges in Lagos, where the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Honorable Justice Walter Onoge, represented by Justice Mohammed Lawal, Board of Governors of the National Judicial Institute, NJI, noted the issues relating to judicial practice in telecommunications services, management and operations in Nigeria.
If you are current with the way judges approach matters, particularly coming or having to do with telecommunications, you will know that appreciable advancement has been made in dealing with matters or issues dealing with telecommunications in Nigeria.
Executive Commissioner Stakeholder Management NCC Mr. Sunday Dari also provided this perspective on the 2018 retreat for judges.
We believe that meeting with the learned persons, rubbing minds, looking at our act, looking at what is happening in this dynamic environment, we can have a deeper understanding. And as cases come up to the law courts, they can, with the benefit of what we've had here over time, be able to make a determination of these cases correctly.
The workshop, which attracted legal luminaries in different parts of the country, dwelt on insights on how it develops guidelines, activates its dispute resolution mechanism, and the role it plays in enhancing cybersecurity in Nigeria, and issues bordering on Nigerian Communications Act, amongst others. Let's now direct our focus to awards and recognitions. Like in previous years, awards and recognitions did not stop pouring in for the NCC and indeed its Executive Vice Chairman, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, in the 2018 Telecom year in appreciation for the regulatory flair that has become a trademark for the Commission. Some of the corporate awards backed by the telecom regulator in the outgone year comprised the Nigeria Technology Awards NITA as the most innovative federal regulatory agency of the year and the best use of social media federal regulatory agency in the year 2018.
It's a thing of joy for NCC to have won this award and to have even won double award, for that matter. That's part of our professionalism, our excellence, and the way NCC carries out our regulatory activities. We have inclusive regulatory activities. We include all the operators and all the stakeholders in all of our meetings and our decisions. And that has been far-reaching and been helpful both to the customers and also to the consumers, as well as to the operators and the vendors.
Then came the 9th edition of the Beacon of Information and Communication Technology Lecture and Awards in Lagos, where the Commission won the Regulator of the Year Award and the Website of the Year Award.
We are really professional in what we do. In terms of the website, was that over the years we do them and we take feedback, the kind of information our stakeholders want. We make sure that we jig our website in a way that is user-friendly and easy to understand. I will make sure that we bundle a lot of information in our website, that it becomes a one-stop shop for all the information you want to get. So people feel good about that.
The Industrial Training Fund, ITF, also honored the NCC in the course of the outgone year as the best contributing employer in human resource development in 2017. Speaking at the presentation of the award, which took place at the Commission's Abuja headquarters, ITF Director General Sir Joseph Ari, represented by the Deputy Director Area Manager ITF, Mr. Usman Sani, said the NCC is deserving of the award, having contributed immensely in human capital development in terms of training programs at various levels and at different capacities in the previous year.
I'm optimistic that the choice of NCC is not a mistake. It was carefully chosen taking cognizance of the various parameters outlined by ITF that are captured in the human capital analysis of training programs and seminars and workshops, both within and outside the country, that transpired under the auspices of NCC during the year 2017.
Director Human Capital and Infrastructure Group, NCC, Mrs. Miriam Bayi, who received the award on behalf of the Commission's boss, said the NCC takes human resource development as top priority because it forms one of the objectives entrenched in Professor Dambata's 8-point agenda.
Ours is really a very dynamic industry, and as a regulator of such an industry, training and development is paramount. So for the recognition accorded us by ITF, it's very befitting in regards that NCC pays a lot of attention to training and development. In fact, it is one of the 8-point agenda of the Executive Vice Chairman to improve regulatory excellence and operational efficiency. And today this has been proven by the award that we are receiving, which is also a follow-up to other awards that we have received earlier on in such regard.
The EBC was equally recognized and honored in the outgone year by various bodies for regulatory finesse he has brought to bear at the Commission since assuming office. Among such individual recognitions was the conferment of Doctor of Science honoris causa on the NCC bus by the University of Jos. Speaking during the conferment, Vice-Chancellor Eunice Professor Sebastian Sedi Maimako stated that the EBC, alongside other distinguished honoraries, have made positive impact in the economy, hence why the honor was bestowed on him.
Looking back to the years we have spent at the helm of affairs in the Nigerian Communications Commission, I think the accolades, the awards, the recognitions attest to the fact that we must have done something worthy of commendation. So I'm leaving the assessment of what we have done to Nigerians, to judge us. Of course, courtesy of the recognitions, we have received, courtesy of the various awards, those speak for themselves. But more than these awards, we would like Nigerians to say what they think about what we have done over these past 3 years.
Professor Dambata also clinched Outstanding Leadership in Public Sector Governance Award by Dark Communications, owners of AIT and Ray Power broadcast stations. Head Economic Analysis NCC Mr. Ruben Moka, while receiving the award on behalf of the EBC, dedicated it to the staff and management of the Commission, just as he reiterated the EBC's commitment to do more for the growth and development of the country's telecom industry.
This award will spur him to do more, to continue to be committed to those ideals that he has marshaled out with which he is moving the telecom industry. He has told me to tell the audience that he didn't do it alone, that he has a team of professional and dedicated staff who are doing the work for him.
Also honored at the event are 4 governors, including the governor of Bayelsa State, Seriake Dixon, the managing director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, NPA, Hadiza Bala Usman, and a host of others. Also in the outgone year, there were closer collaborations between the Commission and the academia, with several productive roundtables involving the academia and other industry stakeholders held in virtually every zone of the country. One outstanding outcome of the NCC and academia gatherings in the year in retrospect was the call by the latter for the review of academia curriculum to optimize student learning, especially in relation to ICT. In a panel discussion on course content development at one of such stakeholders' gatherings in the Southeast region, which held at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, panelists argued that constant update and review in curriculum and change in course content would help make students become employable after graduation and also help them keep pace with their counterparts in other countries of the world.
It is the academia that produces the graduates that's supposed to service the industry. Now, there is a gap in the sense that the quality of graduates we have today are not able to meet these industrial needs. is a glaring fact. So, and this course content development, I see it as something that the academia and the industry must play very, very strategic role to make sure that this is properly addressed.
Yes, you should find a way of monitoring the university too. Privately, without even announcing that they are coming. Monitor how they are performing. And then make suggestions to the VC and see how this can improve.
I think that this NUC basic academic standard should be, occasionally, even yearly upgraded. There should be a synergy between this team and the industry for them to understand what is happening in the industry and then follow the trend to fix this curriculum for these students. Because it doesn't make sense that somebody that graduated 20 years ago and the person that graduated maybe 5 years ago used the same curriculum. It doesn't make sense because time has changed.
Other heads of departments and resource persons were also of the opinion that focus should be more on capacity building, while citing the need for lecturers on sabbatical leave to do so within the industry rather than other academic institutions.
The technology is changing every year because of Moore's Law. Moore's Law, but the Moore's Law, Gordon, the two that started Intel Corporation, they predicted that every 2 years, manufacturers of ICs will be able to double the number of components they put on a chip. So that's what has been driving the industry. It does not mean that we have to change our curriculum every year. My advice is that all of us, different institutions, we need to have a space in our curriculum, maybe from third year, for special topics from the industry.
The Director, Spectrum Administration, Engineer Austin Nwalune, who spoke on behalf of the Executive Vice Chairman of the NCC, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, provided this perspective.
Academia is challenged to study the impact of various practices and issues peculiar to the Nigerian operating environment on the operational efficiencies and service delivery capabilities and performance by telecommunications industry players. For example, to subscribers. It will surely be interesting read to see the new insights this may provide.
Aside the Roundtable for Academia that took place in the Southeast, Roundtable Synergy with Academia series as put together by the NCC also held in Kano, Lagos, Benin, and the Federal Capital City of Abuja. Thanks for staying tuned. As reported in the last episode of the program, courtesy visits between the Commission and its strategic stakeholders were a major feature in the year 2018. One of such visits was made to the Commission by the Edo State Governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, where he pledged his administration's commitment to cooperate with the NCC in its quest for advancing the course of telecommunications in the country, with particular reference to Edo State.
Because of our goal to make Edo very, very competitive and attractive business-wise, whatever collaboration we need to have, whatever cooperation, we are ready to ensure and embark on with you. Be they aligning, reducing taxes, right of way, we've, in terms of our road construction, since in the last 89 years, from the time of my predecessor, we've always made provisions for ducts, for fiber ducts. And we need to be able to help with your assistance build out a whole policy framework on how this should be done.
Executive Commissioner Stakeholders Management NCC Mr. Sunday Dare, who received the governor on behalf of the EVC, provided this update on what the Commission is doing towards improving broadband connectivity in the country.
We have been quite busy in the last 1 year or so trying to interface with state governments, trying to explain why it is important to be on the same page, to come to a compromise about the fees that will be charged for right-of-way, about the permits that will be issued in a timely fashion, and we've made some progress. I know that we've not come to Edo State yet, but we have that plan eventually. We're lucky, however, to have the governor here, and we will still make that trip to Edo State.
Similarly, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, was also at the NCC. He requested the Commission to assist in the training of the officers and men of the Nigerian Air Force on information and communication technology management to combat terrorism in the country. Air Marshal Abubakar also pointed out during the visit the importance of ICT knowledge in the equipping of the pilots flying modern-day war aircraft towards ensuring that the country is adequately protected against internal and external enemies.
We have the system quite all right, but like I said, we need to build sufficient capacity so that we can begin to really effectively handle everything on our own without necessarily having to send people outside for training.
In his response, Executive Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, expressed the willingness of the Commission to partner with the nation's Air Force, especially in the area of human capacity building, just as he stressed the need for the right technology to be deployed for better results.
You know, access to information is normally facilitated by leveraging the power of information and communications technology. To do that, you need to have the right technology in place. You need to have the right IT equipment in place. And I think this request has been put across by the Chief of Air Staff, standing with me here. And we're going to look at this request in terms of the type of IT equipment that are needed in order to facilitate access to information. So if it is items of equipment they need, then we would like to engage them one-on-one, arising from this courtesy call, to establish the kind of equipment that is needed for this important strategic and security work they are doing for the country.
The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) officials were also at the NCC head office in the outgone year to seek collaboration on aviation safety with regards to standards for telecommunication masts and towers, radio frequency spectrum, and remotely piloted aerial systems to ensure safety of air travelers in Nigeria. The Director, Aerodrome and Airspace Standards, NCAA, Mohammed Odunwo, who led the delegation, said the NCAA was at the NCC as a strategic partner to explore strategies on how both agencies can collaborate for the continuous safety of airplanes and helicopters.
Try to reach out to them, and some of them are very, I don't want to use the word stubborn or combative. And that's one of the reasons that we just felt the necessity to partner with you. We figure with your if you intervene and with this partnership agreement, I think a lot of them will take those things very, very seriously. You know, especially the ones that borders on safety. That's where we are really concerned about. The ones with the 50-kilometer radius, and like you said, those ones that are way high.
Executive Commissioner Technical Services NCC Engineer Ubale Maska, who represented the Executive Vice Chairman of NCC, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, at the event, assured the visiting team of the Commission's support, especially as it concerns masts around the airport and aerial drones.
The issue of masts that may be lying in the flight path of air traffic, particularly those that are close to the airports, because clearly masts that are close to the airport that are tall obviously pose a risk to the aviation industry. So there is need for the collaboration between us so that we can ensure that such masts conform to certain standards that ensure the safety of air travelers in Nigeria.
Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) team was received by the Executive Commissioner Stakeholders Management, Engineer Ubale Maska, who represented the Executive Vice Chairman of the NCC, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, and other top management staff of the Commission. Thank you for your company so far as we review major telecom activities in 2018. As part of its resolve to facilitate strategic collaborations and partnership with relevant stakeholders to foster sustainable economic development and social advancement, the NCC was actively involved in various partnership engagements with several bodies and agencies of government in the 2018 telecom year. One of such outstanding partnership moves made by the NCC in the outgoing year, which cannot go without mention, was the one involving the Commission and the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, where Professor Dambata assured of the Commission's commitment towards ensuring that Nigeria joins other developed economies of the world in operating a cashless society. The NCC helmsman gave the renewed commitment when he paid a courtesy visit to the CBN governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, at the CBN headquarters in Abuja, a meeting that culminated in the signing of a memorandum of understanding on mobile money service and financial inclusion by the two industry regulators. Professor Dambata, who described the MOU signing event as a landmark in the country's digital transformation process, is optimistic that the digital revolution being envisaged will target governance as well as other key services sectors of the economy.
The NCC is committed to this digital transformation process. We are daily thinking of what to do to ensure we reach the desired destination of making sure our people participate in the digital economy in a way and manner that they will be empowered to leverage the power of information and communications technology to conduct their daily businesses.
The CBN governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, equally expressed delight in the NCC's visit and the MOU that followed.
This is a landmark document which our teams have worked for several months trying to put together with intention to see to how the NCC and the Central Bank of Nigeria can work together towards driving the payment system in Nigeria, reducing cash transaction in Nigeria and enhancing cashless operations in Nigeria. That it will also help to facilitate financial inclusion and also drive a more robust payment system in Nigeria.
While addressing a section of the media, the NCC boss shed more light on the essence of the high-level visit to the CBN.
MOU we have signed is on mobile money service and financial inclusion. This followed useful work done by a committee made up of representations from the NCC and CBN, which culminated in the signing of the MOU. On the basis of the MOU we have signed, the two organizations have indicated commitment towards driving the financial inclusion in the country, as well as ensuring improvement in the money mobile service penetration.
A cashless transaction in its technical sense has to do with electronic means of payment through the cyberspace with the use of physical cash as a legal tender. This transaction is usually carried out by the use of credit or debit cards at points of sales, popularly known as POS, internet banking, mobile banking, or even ATM terminals. We can go on and on, as a lot was achieved by the telecom regulator in 2018, courtesy of the 8-point agenda of the Professor Dambata administration, providing the needed roadmap, even as the Commission is optimistic of a better telecom year in 2019, as it continually aims at advancing the course of the industry. Well, it is on this note we would like to call it a day on this week's episode of your IT-oriented program, Telecom Today. We will be back same time next week with another informative episode. Before I go, please remember to send us your feedback and comments through the NCC website, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Remember that you can always call our toll-free customer care line 622 for any service complaints. Thank you for being dependable partners. Telecom Today is powered by NCC. Till I come your way again, I am Eunice Johnson. Bye for now.